This video is sponsored by NordVPN. I found out I was wrong about thin phones earlier this year, before Apple came out with its Air, and now I think you're probably wrong too. No, it's not a groundbreaking piece of design, and also no, I don't think this camera bump actually matters. So here's why, despite having access to the best smartphones on the planet, I have actually been converted and I am not looking forward to going back. Hey guys, I'm Ryan Thomas, and like you, I am a phone enthusiast. I like big, beastly phones with massive batteries, super fast charging, and I am a particularly fussy camera snob, so I like phones that have those crazy 1-inch sensors, massive telephoto lenses, that kind of thing. I am more a hardware guy than I am a software guy, which has typically drawn me to those kinds of phones. You know, you're probably picturing stuff like the Vivo Ultra, the OnePlus devices, you know, even the likes of like the iPhone Pro Maxes, I guess. I've traditionally liked those kinds of phones, but about 4 months ago, when I got a bit sick of my OnePlus 12 for various reasons, I was trying to pick out a new mobile and I stumbled across the phone that I'd reviewed just 2 months ago and didn't actually love. I thought it was a bit redundant and well, boy was I wrong, and I'll explain that after a quick message from today's sponsor. One of the most convenient and handy inventions of the last few years is certainly a VPN, and that's where this video's sponsor NordVPN comes in. Not only does this service help you browse anonymously, tunneling your network traffic through another region which helps secure your connection, but it's also just really handy for watching programs, movies and sports that you just wouldn't get in your home version of Netflix, for example. Or if, like me, you're a die-hard Premier League fanatic and you go on holiday, being able to log into your streaming services just as you normally would without a fuss is brilliant, and NordVPN allows you to do that. It works on Mac, Windows, iOS and our beloved Android. It's easy to install and get set up. If you go to nordvpn.com/androidpolice, you'll get up to 77% off a 2-year plan and 4 months extra for free. So check that link out in the video description, and a big thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring today's content. Alright, so you've probably all seen the iPhone Air, right? It was leaked months ago and around the time that Samsung actually came out with its version, the Galaxy S25 Edge. The slimline iPhone was strange because, well, the last few years I've actually seen smartphones get thicker, which has been great because it just means you can fit more in there. Bigger cameras, bigger batteries, and more complex cooling systems for the ever more powerful SoCs that we have in our smartphones. So it sounds like a great plan to actually make the phone thicker. Why then is there a thin version? It's been causing a stir online, and honestly, I do get why people don't love this design. Back when I reviewed the S25 Edge, I called it the world's most divisive phone, and one that was incredibly confusing to me. Like, why sell an $1,100 smartphone with worse performance, a worse camera stack, considerably worse battery life than an ultra-class phone for around the same kind of price? And then why in a slimline phone does it have a gargantuan camera bump? Like, who is this thing for? Well, I decided to give the Edge another chance, and it shouldn't be called the Edge, by the way. It should be called like the Slim or the Air, but I guess Samsung is sticking with that naming scheme, so good luck with that one. So how thin this phone is versus its competition is quite nice. I do think it feels great in the hand, but it's not the primary reason why I haven't switched back. Yes, it makes the phone easier to fit in your pocket, and for a large screen like this, it actually makes it easier to hold if you don't have a Michael Jordan size hand span. For me, there are a couple of main reasons. Most obvious is the weight. Now, I'm not saying I can't just go and carry a normal smartphone around 220, 230 grams, a normal flagship size. I'm not saying that it aches my shoulders. I just cannot carry around such a behemoth of a device. But once you switch to something like a Galaxy S25 Edge for a week or more, and then pick up something normal sized, it just feels like you're carrying a brick around with you. The S25 Edge almost like becomes part of you instead of you lugging around a big pocket computer. And as a runner who currently is struggling to find a pair of shorts that actually like holds my phone in place, a slimmer and lighter smartphone such as the S25 Edge has actually been a revelation for me. Like, it's ridiculous. The same goes for like trekking, you know, cycling, physical activity, stuff where I don't want a big heavy brick in my pocket. This, sure, 160 grams is still not nothing, but it's a darn sight better than 230 grams. And speaking of which, I have dropped this phone quite a lot. Like, it's very slippery and I have not babied it. I've not put a case on it. I haven't even put a screen protector on this phone because that kind of defeats the purpose of it being slim. And despite being quite calamitous myself, I have not managed to put major damage on this phone. Like, you know that iPhone 17 Pro scratchgate thing going on at the moment, where like seemingly air is like scratching the iPhone? Yeah, if I was using an iPhone Pro every day, it would basically be e-waste by this point because I'd have put so much damage on it. I've been stunned by just how well this naked S25 Edge has held up. It's not bent anywhere, it's not snapped anywhere, there aren't any real scratches or dings or dents. I have not babied this phone and it looks like I actually have. I want to address the elephant in the room though. There are two big cameras sticking out the back of this thing. And well, I don't use my phone on the desk, but I guess if you did, you would not want to use the S25 Edge. It rocks more than maybe any other phone I've ever tried before. It's kind of hilarious. But I do also think that despite my favorite lens being the 3 times roughly from my OnePlus 12 and then the OnePlus 13, I did not miss it whatsoever. And that has been an absolute shock to me. The cameras on here, by the way, are fantastic. I have zero complaints with any of them. Of course, it has the main 1 times from the Galaxy Ultra, which is fantastic. But for some reason, like the lesser ultra wide from like the Plus models on here, it really should have been the Ultra's ultra wide. I don't know if there's a physical reason why it couldn't have been, but for this kind of money, it really should have. And the results from these cameras that I use every single day are as good as I could possibly want from a smartphone. I use that main camera up to around 4 times. Anything above 4 times, it just kind of goes to a digital mess. It's not great at 4 times, but certainly usable. But again, I haven't run into a situation where I was left really wanting more out of this smartphone. I expected dropping my favorite lens from my favorite smartphone, I would really miss it, but honestly, I haven't missed it at all. And does the camera bump actually matter? Well, I guess it's going to depend on your personal preference. You might be completely put off by it, but to me it doesn't impact my usage or user experience whatsoever, so I don't mind that it sticks out a lot. But the real cherry on the top, the massive green flag, the thing that made me realize that this phone was basically designed and built for me, is that once I'd finished the first day of loading all my apps up and, logging in, getting everything done, after that, this phone has given me exactly 0 battery life problems, to the point where sometimes I just end the day with like 50% left in the tank still. And that proves to me that I am far from what I would call a power user. I don't have Instagram or TikTok installed. I don't watch YouTube Shorts. I'm 26, I'm not the target market for those. I don't feel the desire to watch short form video. And I'm an old man now, and the Galaxy S25 Edge has highlighted my main uses for a phone. So I chat in Discord, Google an awful lot of things, like more than actually I realized. I message my friends and family in the likes of Messenger and WhatsApp. Sometimes I'll stick on a YouTube video like a long form, or listen to Spotify or podcasts via my Bluetooth buds. And I'll check Strava and Garmin for any kind of health and fitness metrics in my training. I also always have my Garmin Fenix watch connected, by the way, so that's permanently Bluetoothed in. And even then, this comparatively tiny battery still doesn't sweat. Thin phones are not about being necessarily thin, their lightweight nature is massive and something I truly appreciate every time I pick up an ultra class phone and realize, wow, that's like holding a brick. And yes, they cost probably more than they should, I'm not going to defend that. But I also know that for me, I don't think there's another phone on the planet that does what I want better than the S25 Edge right now. The best way I can describe it is that it does everything to an incredibly high level, but in short bursts. Someone who averages 8 or 9 hours of screen time per day is going to have a bad time here. Someone who wants to shoot telephoto images or ProRes RAW all day, not going to be able to do it here. Someone who wants to draw diagrams, who really is a power user, you're all going to struggle with the S25 Edge. And I think sometimes people equate the amount of money a phone costs to just how much of a power user that buyer might be. But to those of us who don't mind spending a little bit more for something more intentional and less of a burden day to day, this is the pinnacle. And honestly, I was not expecting that after my initial review of the S25 Edge. Guys, I know most of you have already disliked this video. You're going to be in the comments saying that phone's a waste of money, it's $1,100, no one should buy it, it lacks this spec and it lacks this spec. But the fact of the matter is, to many people, most people, specs mean absolutely zero. I love a beastly phone as much as you guys, but I also appreciate just how little impact this phone has on my life. I love that. Let's have a sophisticated conversation in the comments section, and if you enjoyed today's video, please do hit like, it helps the channel out a lot, and subscribe to never miss another upload. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Ryan Thomas, and I will catch you later. Cheers.